You're listening to This Woman Can, episode 29, with Dr. Renee Matthews. Live life you deserve. Welcome to This Woman Can, the women's leadership podcast and your source of information related to women's leadership, female entrepreneurship, personal success and career advancement. I'm your host, Janice Sutherland, executive coach, leadership development expert and the author of This Woman Can, the no bullshit guide for women who lead. And now, this week's episode. Hey everyone, and thank you for joining me on this week's edition of This Woman Can. You know I'm always grateful for your support, so keep on subscribing, sharing and sending me your reviews about what you love about the show and also suggestions for future interviews. Now this week I am having a little bit of a fangirl moment because my guest is a lady called Dr. Renee Matthews. Dr. Renee has appeared on television shows such as the Oprah Winfrey Show, TVOne's NewsOne Now, and WGN-TV's People to People, where she has discussed different health topics. In addition, Dr. Renee has been a featured medical correspondent on SiriusXM's Sway in the Morning. She earned her undergraduate degree in 1999 and her medical doctorate in 2005, where she spent the early part of her medical career as an educator on cord blood for numerous hospitals and attending staff. Her experience as an asthmatic drives her passion for asthma education. She addresses the concerns of asthma sufferers by supplying them with the tools and knowledge they need to receive the best medical care. And in 2003, Dr. Renee received the Friend of Mobile C.A.R.E award for her commitment to raising awareness of asthma in the city of Chicago. Dr. Renee is the host of Out of Office with Dr. Renee, which is a part of Outcome Health and seen in 45,000 plus doctor's office waiting rooms. So if you're in the US, you have probably seen her show on TV. Dr. Renee is a regular writer for Good Enough Mother and Diary of a First Time Mom. She has been a contributing writer for Ebony Magazine, MadameNoir.com and Black.org. She's also a sought-after speaker for various organisations in school. In 2014, the Ask Dr. Renee show premiered as a platform to motivate and inspire people to live the life they deserve. And guests have included Michelle Williams, Diane Valentine, Lisa Nichols and Teddy Riley, to name but a few. In addition to writing about health, Dr. Renee assists others with social media, branding and becoming an entrepreneur. And she continues to work on her long-term goal of educating and transforming the community to live the life they deserve. So hi everybody, welcome to this week's edition of This Woman Can. And as I said, I am having my little bit of a fangirl moment. You would have heard the bio I just read about Dr. Renee Matthews. And she's like, oh, the doctor to the superstars. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Dr. Renee Matthews. So Dr. Renee, tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today.
So I am, as Janice knows, my father's Antiguan, my mother's American. So I grew up in Michigan, and I went to Michigan State University undergrad. I majored in physiology because I always, from the time that I could talk, said I was going to be a doctor. I was a sick kid. I had severe asthma, so I spent a lot of time in the ER. I usually went to the ER every night of April and October for the first 10 years of my life, because that's when the weather changes, because we have 4 seasons, of course. So that would be when we would go fall to winter, spring and summer. So that's when I would get sick. And so I spent a lot of time in hospitals. My mom was a hospital administrator. So she worked in the hospital. So when my sister would be on vacation, rather than pay a babysitter, we would usually go to work with my mom. And they would give us stuff to do, projects to do, and we would, so I spent a lot of time in hospitals. I was very comfortable in hospitals, and it just seemed like the logical thing to do. When I was 6 in Brownies, we visited my friend, one of the Brownies, her dad's OBGYN's office, and he did an ultrasound on one of the girls, and I knew that day I was going to be an OBGYN. I came home, told my mom, this is it. I have figured it out. And in the meantime, in between time, because of my asthma, because I was so sickly, I couldn't do sports. Not to mention, I don't think that I'm actually inclined in the sports way. I'm like not athletic. But because of that, I did the arts. So I'm a triple threat. I sing, I dance, and I act.
Wow. I didn't know the singing bit. I didn't know the singing and the acting bit.
Yes. So my mom, bless her heart, was like, Renee, because I, of course, wanted to be a star. And she's like, Renee, you're going to be a starving artist. You know, that's a bad idea. You know, we don't know anyone, you know. And so I was like, okay. Yeah. So I was on the path my entire life was that I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a doctor. Well, I watched Good Morning America growing up with my mom. Dr. Nancy Snyderman used to be on Good Morning America, as most recently she was on the Today Show. But she was on Good Morning America when I was growing up. And I saw her and was like, I would like to be her. She was the medical correspondent for Good Morning America. And I said, I'd like to be her. But I just kept that in the back of my head. I was like, okay, we're going to go do this medical thing. So I went to Michigan State undergrad. I ended up going to med school in St. Martin. I went to AUC, and then I transferred to school in England, St. Christopher. So I lived in England for a year, and I lived in St. Martin for 2.
Okay.
And I graduated from med school, and I didn't get into a residency right away. I ended up working at a medical malpractice firm reviewing cases, which was fine, except for the place where I worked. This was not working for me. Not to mention, I had never sat down and worked in an office in my entire life until then. And I figured out that wasn't for me. And I didn't know that until I did that, that wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And so when I started working there, the thing was, I'm going to go to residency. Well, while working there, I ended up getting my own radio show on SiriusXM. The channel was a physician's channel. And so I was talking to other doctors, which really was never my thing. I wanted to do like Dr. Nancy Snyderman. I wanted to talk to the lay people. But this was a start. So I started doing that. And my last interview with them, I interviewed Dr. Ian Smith, whom I had looked up to because I had found out in my research that he too did not do a residency.
Right.
So I was like, okay. So I was really excited. I got to interview him. Later, I ended up finding out that he lives in Chicago, which is where I live. So I was like, we are bound to meet. And we did finally meet. And so I was excited when we finally met. I'm not sure. I don't remember if we took a picture, but I know I bought his book and he signed the book. I think we do have a picture. But that was a huge deal for me. So then when I got fired from that job, and I was just so grateful because we may
dig into that a little bit more.
Yeah, that's fine. I did not like my job, but it paid my bills a little bit because they didn't pay us a whole lot either at my job. But I was like, I know that I could do something else. In the midst of all of this, I had started an entertainment company. And so I really felt like I had 2 full-time jobs. I did that by day, and then by night I'd be up all night because entertainers don't go to sleep. Right. And so plus I had stuff on I call it the left coast. On the West Coast, I had things going on. And so I just would be up all night. So I really felt like I had 2 full-time jobs. So I was doing that. I started my company in 2005. And so I was doing both. And so when I got fired, I was like, whatever. As a matter of fact, I got in the job 7 days after I got fired.
Right.
But I couldn't start right away because my boss was going out of town. So I ended up collecting unemployment for like a month, I think. But I already had a new job. So I was like, this is lovely, right? It was like my little paid vacation. Yeah. And then, I started the job. So my job was I educated nurses and doctors on how to collect umbilical cord blood for life-saving stem cells.
Okay.
And so I had 42 hospitals and around the city, even outside of the city.
Yeah.
So I used to drive to these hospitals, and I had to do this education. And of course, hospitals are 24/7. So I worked all hours of the day and night, but I loved my job. And so it didn't matter. My job was eliminated because they lost a lot of the hospitals. to another blood bank.
Right.
And my job was eliminated June 24th, 2013. And of course, me being the West Indian I am, I'm like, okay, I got to go find another job. Well, everyone's like, no, you don't. And I was like, you guys are insane. They were like, yes, you don't. And I was like, no, but I do. I have to pay my rent. I have to eat. And they were like, but you can do whatever it is you need to do. You need your own talk show. So whatever it is you have to do to get that, you need to do it.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. So that was then, and I have not gotten another job since. And my sister says, she's like, well, because I loved my job previously so much, she said I didn't have a job because she said people who have jobs are miserable and you're not miserable. And I said, and the blood bank didn't know. I would have done my job for free because it was very important. People don't know that when you're donating bone marrow and all that stuff, it is very specific to your background. So we have a severe shortage, and I'm saying severe as in like less than 10% of matches when it comes to people of color. Wow. And so it was so awesome that I was the one that did the speaking about it to the doctors and nurses, and I did a lot of the recruitment events too.
Right.
So, you know, the patients trusted me because I looked like them. So I loved my job, and I knew how important my job was because I knew of people that got sick with different types of blood diseases, leukemias and whatever. And I knew that this saved them or it didn't save them. Yeah. So, or, you know, they died because they were on the list and couldn't find a match. So I knew how important it was. So, but my sister's like, you don't have a job. Because I loved my job. I mean, we'd leave a party and I'd go to work at a hospital. I was like, you know, you guys, let me stop at this hospital on our way home.
Wow.
My friends are like, are you serious? I'm like, I'm dead serious. This would be Friday night, like 12 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, yeah.
So
they say if you have a job you enjoy, you've never actually worked a day in your life.
Yes.
So I think you are the epitome
that's what I tell everyone. That is exactly what I tell everybody. So my sister says I don't have a job, but my clients are very happy, and I'm seen in 45,000 doctors' offices across the country. I have a TV show called Out of Office with Dr. Renee that's on the waiting room television, and I travel like crazy, which is fun, and because I can work from anywhere as long as I have my laptop and my phone. I can work from whenever. And then, so whenever my clients have different interviews, I usually go with them to fly out wherever. And when I have my own stuff, I fly out to wherever I need to go to do it. I'm living, my hashtag is live life you deserve. That's what I'm doing.
There's a gap for me. There's a gap. So you had the hospital, the stem cell collection, blood that you lost. Mm-hmm. Then you've morphed into this TV show host. Talk to me about that journey, you know, because like you say, your friends say you need a chat show. It's not the thing that naturally comes to many people. Oh, you need a chat from a doctor to a chat show, you know. So talk to me about the transition.
Because like I said, I was a triple threat. So I did forensics, storytelling in middle school and high school.
Right.
And then, like I said, I did the whole acting thing from the time I was in elementary, basically. So speaking was never something I didn't do. Yes. In my job, remember I said I educated doctors and nurses. So I used to present at grand rounds in the hospital. I lectured the doctors and nurses. So speaking is something that I've just always done and gotten paid to do. So the show is just kind of an extension of it. I love hearing people's stories. Right. So I actually have a YouTube show, the Ask Dr. Renee Show, and I've interviewed, I think we've done 60 something episodes. I haven't done an interview since September of last year, but I would do them weekly. And I talk to people, and just really my thing is like I said, my hashtag is live life you deserve. I want everyone to be happy, and to be happy, you need your health first. Yeah. And then you need wealth. And those are like the things that wealth is career, you know, savings, investment, all of that. And health is mind, body, and spirit. So that's the whole life right there to me in a nutshell. So those are the things, like my show, I told people stories that I didn't think other people knew, but their stories motivated and inspired me. And I thought they would do the same for others. Wow. The show that's in the waiting rooms educates the patients while they're waiting. So they're little 2-3 minute episodes. Yeah. So the first time I ever saw it, I was in the dermatology office with my mom, and I interviewed my dermatologist, and we were talking about dermatology issues that pertain to people of color, which that's the dermatology office we were sitting in.
Yeah.
And so these are little nuggets that they could take. So when they go see the doctor, that might trigger a question or might, so that's that's what Out of Office with Dr. Renee, that's what it talks about.
Right. Fantastic. Fantastic. Like you say, it's kind of melding all your loves at one time, which is great. You're really fortunate. You're really fortunate. Yeah. But Dr. Renee, what makes you tick? What gets you out of bed in the morning?
I am just so excited. I see you
on Instagram with your cold walks, by the way. Yes. I see you. You make me cold.
Wait till the summertime, because Chicago gets very hot. But no, I am excited about every day. Like I'm excited. I know something amazing is going to happen. I do some very interesting things before I get out of the bed. One of them is segment intending.
Okay.
So segment intending, I literally write down, thank you, God, for the things that I want to happen that day.
Right.
And so and it's amazing how the things actually happen. It is amazing.
It's like the opposite to gratitude, because gratitude tends to kind of focus on what happened on the day, what you're grateful for. This is me saying, almost setting your intentions that today, this is what I want to have happen. That's really interesting. I've never thought about it that way.
And then I also do creative visualization. I was blessed to have Lisa Nichols on my show, and we talked about it on the Ask Dr. Renee show. We talked about that. And literally, you look at a white space on the wall, and you could envision 2 minutes from now or 10 years from now, whatever you want. And so I do that as well. And I'm just so excited because all these amazing things keep happening in my life, but I really feel like I intended for them to happen and they're supposed to happen. Of course, there's some things that happen and I'm just like, God is insane. Like, how did he do that? And I can't believe that happened. Like, I met Oprah twice.
Right. Yes.
Well, I have 2 pictures with Oprah because I've actually met her a couple more times that I didn't get a picture or anything. I just said hello or whatever. But that was just amazing. Like, I just still can't believe, like I said, I went to the show every single season that I've lived here, except for one.
Wow.
Most people can't go to the show ever. I've been to the show, I think that's 6 or 7 times.
That's a lot of time.
And I went to the finale, the 2-show finale at the United Center.
Were you there? Were you weren't there at the You Get a Car episode?
No. But you know what? They had to pay taxes on them cars, so I'm okay with the car that I had at the time. I no longer have a car because I traveled so much; it was pointless because I wasn't driving it. But no, I wasn't there. I do know people. I think I know 2 people that had cars from her.
Wow. So you talked about your segment intention. Was it segment intention?
Yep, segment intending.
And segment attending. Sorry. And obviously, from what you're saying, everything happens the way you want it to happen. But come on, there must have been some challenges you faced. You've faced challenges.
Of course.
So talk to me about how you overcome them and the lessons you learn from them. Maybe the biggest one.
I think that I think that one, and I had to grow to get there, but when I finally got there, it was like, thank God. But I don't get upset about anything anymore. I'm just like, okay, this clearly happened for a reason. And I should probably try to figure out why. Like, I've literally in the morning, I was on my way somewhere and I got a flat tire and I was livid.
Yeah.
Then I said, you know what? Clearly the Lord needed to stop me because something was about to happen to me in the car.
Yeah. And
this flat allowed me to miss that. And so I've like the way that I turn everything around has helped me tremendously because I really do not get upset about much. Like, you really have to make me mad. And I don't allow anyone to really do that. I might get disappointed for a minute, but I don't have time. And I try to stay, everyone calls me Positive Patty. I try to stay positive Patty because I remember I was diagnosed clinically depressed when I was 14.
Okay.
And so I saw a psychiatrist most of my high school years. And then I've lived here 15 years. Maybe about 10 years ago,
Right.
I was like, I would lose weight, but I'd sabotage myself really good and I'd gain it all back and then some. And so I finally decided that I needed to go see somebody about that. I was like, because something is wrong with me. Something's not ticking in my brain.
Yeah.
And I'm a doctor. Like, I should know better.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I saw her, and I had to call her when I finally I literally weighed what I weighed 20 something years ago. And I had to call her and thank her because I was like, you fixed something in my brain that allowed me to lose this weight. And the thing was, I couldn't take compliments. I got all these compliments from people, and I was able to take them and not sabotage myself.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal for me. So I know what happens if you stay in that wallow, like in that low place. I know what happens. You just keep staying there. Yeah. That's what happened with my depression. I just kept being more depressed.
Right.
So if I keep flipping the switch and I don't stay there long, then I can stay, happy. And I mean, in my career, I've had one client fire me, and I was really kind of upset about it. My feelings were hurt. But then I see where they are now, and I'm like, okay, I'm fine. I know where they could have been.
Yes.
You're lost.
Yes. But can I explore some?
I auditioned for Dreamgirls, the movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I auditioned for Jennifer Hudson's part.
I'm a little speechless here because I do love the Jennifer Hudson part. I won't put you on the spot asking you to sing. I'm telling you, but never mind. Won't do that. So let me just expand a little bit, Dr. Renee. You talked about depression and going to see people. One of the things that's very big in, I suppose, media right now is about our mental illness, mental awareness, especially in the Caribbean, because we really, and in Antigua, there's a whole. We're trying to refocus how people look at mental health and mental illness. What would you say to somebody who is actually facing some challenge in that realm to kind of encourage them to seek help and the support they need?
I would just say, go do it. You'll feel so much better.
Yeah.
You'll feel so much better. And my whole thing is the alternative, because there's a lot of people who are walking around really miserable.
Yes.
Who think that that's just the way life is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And, I like to put it in colors. They're walking around in black and white when life is really very colorful and really nice. And it's just like, you will feel so much better if you just went and sat on the couch. And I'm so sick of people trying to, talk down on people and stuff and say stuff about them because they go get help. I'm so over that. Like I said, I'm very public about the fact that I have sought help. And I'm glad I did, because I know where I could be if I didn't.
Yes. Yeah, it's very true.
And I also feel like misery loves company. I don't do that. So if you're miserable, you're not going to be in my circle, because I can't handle it.
Yeah, that's good. I can see that. But I think definitely here in the Caribbean, we've still got a long way to go to change the mindset of people. We relate to that, right. But as you said, we're making inroads, and that's definitely a start. So, Dr. Renee, you're very accomplished. You seem to set your sights on things, and things happen. But what's been your greatest career triumph?
Greatest triumph. I think it really is the show that's in the offices across the country, because it's so crazy. I have friends all over the place, and people will text me, and I have no idea what they're about to say. They'll say, like one girl, she texted me and said, my boyfriend went to the doctor today. And I'm like, why is she telling me about her boyfriend? I've never met this man. I don't even know his name. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and the next sentence is, and look what he saw. And she sends me a screenshot of me on the television. Right. And I'm like, oh my God, So that's really cool. Like, that's probably the biggest thing, because one, I know my mission is to educate the masses on health. That's what I've always wanted to do. Yeah. My other thing is, like I said, my hashtag is Live Life You Deserve. This is helping people. And that's my thing. I wanted to help people. And so all of my clients, most of my clients are physicians, and I do PR for them and get them, in the public eye. Okay. And they don't know, but they're under my spell too. They are all doing the same mission of helping people. with their help. I have twin doctors that are OBGYNs. I have 2 female doctors. One's Guyanese, actually. The other one's Ghanaian. And they own a clinic that is basically helping us to prevent ourselves from getting sick. So they do IV vitamins, hormone replacement, as well as vaginal laser therapy.
Right.
And so, I try to, like in my life, everyone needs to be helping people.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. But if you had to start over from scratch, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently?
I think that I would have more confidence in myself and my skills. So I did a lot of stuff for free when I probably shouldn't have. I worked with, I did social media for some folks for free that I really probably should have charged. And, but I just wasn't confident. And then when I did start charging, I lowballed myself big time. I ended up speaking to a business coach and they were like, you're doing this all wrong. You need to charge this much. Yeah. But I'm like, but, and they're like, no, charge this much. And they were right. I increased my rates and I increased my business too. Right. So it wasn't like charging more made me have less clients. It made me have more. Yeah. And so that was my thing. I did all of this myself. Like, I'm sure I created that whole brand and everything myself. So people were like, the way you did that, you can do that for others. And I was like, really? Yeah. And so that's when I started working with other people. Yeah. So I don't know why I didn't have the confidence when I knew I had created it for myself. I got myself in Ebony magazine. I got myself in Essence magazine. I got myself on Sway in the Morning. So why couldn't I do it for others? But I just didn't. I don't know. That was the problem. That was the block.
There's a big challenge, I think, with women generally anyway about value and self-worth and stuff like that. And I've worked with a number of women. Well, I'm doing a whole piece right now around negotiation, asking about your salary and not connecting self-worth with net worth and stuff like that. So it's a big challenge in that respect. So you talked about confidence, and you talked about how you've had tackle confidence issues. How do you get out of it when you have a crisis of confidence?
I call them my front line. I have my sister, my best friend. Those two are like, Renee, you can do anything. And I'm thinking, you must be crazy. Because usually I run it by either one of them. Yeah. And when I'm running it by them, I'm really trying to talk myself out of it. Yeah. But they're like, no, you got this. And I'm like, what? And I'm the older sister. So I'm like, so when I tell my sister and she's saying this, even though my sister's a grown woman, obviously, she's 40 years old, but still she's my little sister. And I'm like, oh, I can't let her down. And so she said I can do it, then I better do it. And so really those two people, like they always push me. Right. Push me. Yeah.
But do you ever feel the pressure of that? Because I too am an eldest sister and my biggest cheerleader is my mom, and it's like you said, I used to run marathons and mom would ask me, did I win? And I'm like, girl, please, it took me, she automatically assumed that I would win. And I'm like, but it's, the winner did it in 2 hours. It took me 5. No, I didn't win. But I worked on the premise that, whatever that the winner got, I got the same medal, T-shirt, mug as the winner. So to me, my biggest competition was myself. But do you ever feel pressure because they automatically say, you got this, you can do this, and you're like, wow, and you're doubting it yourself. So do you ever feel that pressure?
I think the most pressure I put it on myself. Yeah. Like my motto is I can make it happen. And so I'm like, darn it, I'm going to make it happen. I'll not forget this one day I had pitched, I don't even know how many people, and everything came back as a no. And I was so frustrated. I call one of my friends and I go, I am done with this. I am a doctor. I do not have to do PR. I could go do something else. Yeah. This is ridiculous. I could go work in a hospital and do something else, or I could go work for a pharmaceutical company and do something else. I don't need to do this. And she's like, Renee, stop. You're okay. And I was like, I'm over it. Yeah. And the next day, something amazing happened. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Oh, I know. the BET Awards a few years ago, I was working with Troop, and they did the throwback moment. So I had pitched it to them, and no one got back to me.
Yeah.
And then they decided later to do it. And so I got a letter from Stephen Hill, who used to run the programming at BET, and he was like, you can tell anybody that this was this was your idea, and that's why we did it. I was like, I was in a state of shock. And my friend's like, and you were going to quit the other day. I was like, you're right. My best friend, one time, I went home like a few weeks later, and she goes, I know you. She goes, you were looking for jobs. I said, how'd you know? She goes, because you were so frustrated, and I could hear it in your voice, and I know you. And I was like, oh, Lord, that child about to quit. I was like, how'd you know? She was like, I just knew. And she was right. I had literally started looking for jobs.
Yeah. So great. Fantastic. So in your own business, you really drive your own prominence. You create your own, you create your brand. You drive who you are, because you are the face, the chief cook and bottle washer, everything in your business.
Yes.
But what would you suggest are some strategies that women could utilize to actually achieve more prominence, in their role at work? You know, you have your own business, but some people are employed.
Right.
What could they do?
Right. I mean, when I was employed, I told my dad, I said, Dad, they could set the clock by me.
Yeah.
They could set the clock by me. I was the first one there. I was there before anybody. I turned the lights on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I tried to stand out like that. And I didn't tell you, the reason I was fired was there was no reason.
Because there was no reason.
There was no reason.
Oh.
Because they do an exit interview with unemployment and all that, because obviously people who are fired don't usually get unemployment, but you get unemployment when there was no reason. There was no reason. So the boss thought my heart wasn't in it.
Oh.
Mind you, I won this man some $2 million lawsuit. I was like, my heart wasn't it. Yeah. My dad goes, did you show up to work every day? I said, Dad, I was there to turn the lights on. I was there before anybody else. Yeah. And he said, and you didn't leave early? I said, no. And he said, well, and you did your work? I said, every day. Yeah. He was like, well, then you did what you were supposed to do. I was like, exactly. What was I supposed to do? But I think that if in your job, like when you're working for someone else, like even people that I hire, if you can anticipate what's to come, without me having to tell you, like that's the best thing ever. Yeah. And if you can do something, and then because my sister works in corporate, if you can do something to save the company money, that's another way to shine.
Yes.
That's another way to shine. So if you can figure out ways for them to save money so they can continue to pay you.
Yeah.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah. Fantastic. And from your own admission, you're very goal oriented.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but what do you think holds women back from actually going for their goals?
Oh, I know exactly. People have a fear of success.
Okay. So expand on that for me.
Some people are they're afraid to win because they're like, oh, what happens if I win? And I will tell you, many years ago, I was supposed to audition for the TV show Star Search. But I got in my head and was like, but if I win, and then I became a famous singer, then what would happen? And I don't know. And I chalked myself out.
Yeah.
So I no longer do things like that. But because I'm like, what if? Well, you should just try and see what happens. Yeah. Just like with Dreamgirls. When I got to the audition and heard the other girls, I was like, why am I here? And I literally almost left. And my mother was like, I called her and told her, I think I'm just going to leave. She goes, Renee, you went to the darn place. You've rehearsed. You might as well stay. And I said, really? And she's like, yeah. And so I did. Yeah. And it was funny when I came out from my audition, because you could hear the people singing.
Yes.
When I came out from my audition, everyone's like, oh my God, you really can sing. And I was like, oh, really? Thank you. It's just like, I didn't think I sounded like these other people, but I was like, oh, well, great. Thanks. But yeah, I mean, people have a fear of success. And then, some people, instead of these would be the most Christian people too, instead of realizing that you don't have to see the whole staircase. You just need one step at a time.
Yes.
They are planning. So I was like, you ain't even taking the first step. Don't worry about that. Take the first step.
Yeah.
But, and you consistently have all these brilliant goals in mind, but you have not made step number one to get anything accomplished.
Yeah.
And I think it's really a fear of success and a fear of failure too. But people don't understand, you know, Oprah will tell you she failed many times. Yes. Steve Harvey, all these people, they failed many times before they succeeded. And it's not a big deal. But if you don't try, where, you know, what have you done? You haven't done neither.
Definitely. And I love you talking about, because I've heard you mention her a few times, your little inner mean girl. Because we all have that dialogue. So and she pops up, you know, like you say, just when you're trying to do something epic, you know, and then puts those little words in your ears. How do you manage her on a day-to-day basis?
Many years ago when Oprah had The Secret on, I ended up reading the book. I got the audio book, which I used to go to bed listening to, and I've watched the movie over and over. And I seriously do try to keep all the positive things in my head. Like, I literally am like, as soon as something goes negative, I try to just cross it out and bring back the positive, just because I know it's not going to be a good thing. Keep things negative. I have to keep things positive.
Yeah.
So, and then if I'm having a lot of trouble with it, like I said, I'll call my sister, who has dry humor and is so straight no shooter. She does not care about your feelings. She'll just tell you exactly what she'll tell you the truth, the absolute truth.
Yeah.
And my best friend is also very truth telling as well. She's not as mean as I would say my sister might be.
Oh,
but my sister, she knows. She said, "But Renee, we got it done, didn't we?" I said,
"Yeah."
So I appreciate her. I call her my executive producer. When I did my YouTube show, she was always critiquing and making sure everything was working. And she would send me messages, "Renee, stop doing that. Put your hand down." You know, it was a video show, so she's like, "Put your hand down. Da 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 da. Move on to this." You know, so. She's like, "But you appreciate that." And then she would actually watch the videos over. I don't really care to hear myself or see myself, but my sister would watch it, and then she would give me all the critiques of what I did wrong.
It's feedback.
Like, this is how you've
not
improved.
Critique. It's feedback.
Like, exactly. It's feedback. Exactly. So when when she's getting too loud, I'll just call my sister, and she'll be like, "But Renee, you did this, this, and this." I'm like, "Oh, I did that."
Excellent. I love your outlook. I really love your outlook. So Dr. Renee, share with us a success quote or a mantra that you use and why it's meaningful for you.
Well, you know what? My favorite Bible verse was Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And if you watched my video with me and Miss Winfrey, I told her that. And then she told me to read Psalm 37:4. "Delight thyself in the Lord, he'll give you all the desires of your heart." And those two, I think, are what keeps me moving. Like, I really do try to make sure that I delight myself in the Lord. And I know that to me, everything is impossible, but to him, everything is possible. So I just go with the flow. Cause my mom is like, "Renee, that's not realistic."
Yeah.
But then it'll happen. And she's like, "Wow," like, "Oh my God," So I was like, I think now she's like, just like my sister, whenever I call her and say something happened or I did something, my sister's so unfazed. She's like, "Of course she did."
You love that. And you're going to have people like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's so funny though. She's like, "Of course you did." I was like, "But Liz, did you hear what I said?" She's like, "Of course they did." But it's funny when she gets excited. It's hilarious. Like, if she sees something or someone says my name and she's like, "So-and-so knows who you are."
She lives vicariously through you.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. That's what it is. Now, you've mentioned Oprah a few times. I was going to ask the question, if you could choose your own mentor, who would it be and why? Now, is that too obvious a question?
Yeah, it would be her, of course. Because I always say Oprah came from very meager beginnings. Yeah. I didn't, praise the Lord. My parents did very well. And And I'm like, if she can come from that and go to where she is, then the sky is truly the limit to where I could go.
Definitely. It's all about self-belief, as you said.
Yes.
It's all about self-belief. And what advice would you give to your teenage self now?
The same thing I said before. I would be like, trust yourself. Like, you really do know what you're talking about. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I was a teen who, I mean, in my household, I was kind of the rebel, but amongst my friends, I was not really.
Oh, wow.
I followed the rule. I was a rule follower.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't drink before I was 21.
Yeah.
You know, I was, you know, on the straight and narrow. And amongst my friends and my high school friends, a lot of them were doing a lot of other things that I just was not doing.
Right.
I was just, you know, the nerd kind of a thing. But I mean, I enjoyed my life. It was, you know, I wasn't miserable because I decided to, you know, but now I'm a rule breaker, as my sister says, but, you know. Okay. But yeah, I would tell myself, you've got to believe in yourself. Don't listen to those people, because a lot of people said, oh, she's never going to be a doctor. Oh, she, you know, a lot of things were said to me. Actually, a college counselor told me I wasn't college material.
Wow.
And everyone says I need to go back with all of my degrees and talk to him.
Yeah, you do. Like, give her a visit. Give her a, find her on social media and pop and say, hi, remember me.
So, yeah, he was unfortunate, he was a black man, and he said the same thing to another friend of mine who was a black woman as well. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, this man needs to lose his job. Yeah. But yeah.
Wow. So what are the 3 things you think you've learned about yourself during your career, Dr. Renee?
Perseverance is probably my best friend.
Yeah.
What else? I'm professional. What else? And I think follow-up. Everyone's like, you are the queen of follow-up.
Okay.
And I mean, but follow-up is key. Oh, you know, I should have, okay, forget the middle one, networking. My mother says my first book should be on networking. Wow. But yeah, so I am the network queen. I have a very large network, and it's because I know how to network effectively.
Okay. So for listeners and for me, and for me, give us a couple of quick tips for effective networking.
So when you know you're going to an event, try to figure out who is going to be there that you need to speak to. Okay. Because you can't meet everybody. Right. But you need to meet the key people that you need to meet for the night. So figure out who's going to be there, and make sure you know exactly what you need to know about the people, so that you don't walk up there you know, 30-second pitch is not a joke. You really need to have a 30-second pitch. You need to have it, and need to know it like the back of your hand and the front of your hand and your first name. You need to know it really well so that you don't mess up, because you only get one shot.
Very true. Very true.
And so, so those are 2 tips. What's a third? I guess my third thing is research. I hate when people pitch me all the time, and I was like, I don't talk about that. So why are you sending this to me? Yeah. I said, that was a waste of your time. Yeah. So and then people walk up to me and think that I'm one thing and I'm something. And so I'm like, no, you know, so make sure you do your research, because research will help you every time. It will also, you could stand out amongst the crowd easily if you've done the proper research, because they will, you know, they'll be blown away.
They'll remember you. Yeah.
They won't forget. Exactly. Yes. I met Jermaine Dupri's father, and no one else where I was at the mall. Nobody knew that was his father but me. Okay. And when I said, excuse me, to the man, he thought I needed to get by.
Right. Okay.
He didn't know I was saying, excuse me, to speak to him. I said, no, Mr. Malden, I'd like to speak to you. My name is. Yeah. Excellent. He was like, oh. And he, obviously, I had done my research. I knew who the man was. I knew what he looked like when I saw him. And I had the information I needed, and I had my 30-second pitch. But that's the key, is make sure the internet is your best friend. Yes. You can see exactly what people look like. And even when you accept invitations to certain networking events, you can literally see who's going.
It's very true. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the thing. And pick your networking events, you know, don't waste your time. Pick events that you actually are going to benefit from. You know, it's all great to get free food and drinks and stuff, but, you know, time is money. So
I was about to say exactly that same thing. On the other hand, time is money, and that, use it wisely.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm coming down to my last couple of questions, Dr. Renee. So I'll get you out of the hot seat. Where would we find you on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m.?
Right here on this couch. Yeah, probably on this couch. If I don't have brunch somewhere with somebody, I'm sitting right here.
Right. But it doesn't
to watch Hallmark for the day.
I was about to say, 'cause it doesn't sound like you'd be sitting there doing nothing. It sounds like you'd always have a game plan.
Hallmark is Saturday and Sundays.
Okay. Hallmark. Fair enough.
I love the Hallmark Channel. Those movies are so sweet. I'm such a sap. I love a love story.
Yes. Yeah, I remember it. I don't have cable here, so I'm just Netflix. But there's similar programs, similar movies, and my husband will walk and go, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "It's a bit of a rom-com, a love story."
I love rom-coms. I'm just rom-com queen. I don't miss the rom-com.
I don't have to think, just let it happen. So fantastic.
Exactly.
Fantastic. And lastly, what's your definition of success, Dr. Renee?
When you are living the life you deserve.
Okay. Excellent. And how does that manifest itself for you?
I'm happy. I am not, I don't work with anyone I don't like. We have to get along because of my nature of my work, especially if I have to travel with you.
Yes.
It would be horrible if I didn't like the person, right?
Definitely.
So I have to have some sort of rapport with them. I think, I have a great family support system. I have amazing friends who are family to me. I, unlike many people, have a really good balance because one, like we said, when you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. So I love what I do for work, and I work a lot, but my work is fun, and I'm really smart about making sure that even in my travels for work, that I stay a few extra days or come early so I can visit with family and friends. Yeah. And so I really enjoy life. So for me, that's what it looks like. I'm living the life I deserve.
Excellent. I have aspirations now. I definitely have aspirations. So Dr. Renee, if anyone wants to get people to get in touch with you or follow you, how can they do that?
I am Ask Dr. Renee, AskDrRenee on everything. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest. And then my website is askdrrenee.info because I'm a resource for information.
Okay.
So that's my website. And you can contact me through my website. You can send me messages on my Facebook page, whatever. But yeah, I'm Ask Dr. Renee everywhere.
Excellent. So thank you. That was my last question. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. That was a great conversation there with Dr. Renee, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Now, there's a couple of great takeaways which I found really, really useful, and I'm probably going to look to adopt myself, especially when I looked at her morning routine. So she had segment intending, where she said she looked at the things, the opposite to gratitude. So she looked at the things she wanted to happen that particular day. She almost manifested them. And then creative visualization, where she envisaged what she wanted to happen. And what I also found refreshing was her approach to mental illness. As we know, she'd suffered with that, as she said, when she was much younger. And that she felt it was the best thing to do, is that you can't cure yourself. She's a physician, she should know. So you should really seek out the help you need to get you through the day to live your best life. And the fact that she still had confidence challenges, no matter how successful she has been, that just goes to show, it doesn't matter how successful you are, you can still have bouts of challenges around confidence. So I hope you found that useful. Oh, and also forget the networking. Invaluable tips there. If you're an entrepreneur, even if you're just a businesswoman who wants to get ahead, who wants to network more, well, her network tips, and the 3 tips she had was, who do you want to speak to? Make sure you're intentional with the people you want to connect with when you go to a networking event. Make sure your 30-second pitch is up to scratch. And lastly, look at the research. Make sure you do the research about the people, the event you're attending, and make sure it connects with what you're trying to do. But what I found really inspiring about the conversation, I always try and take something away from the conversations I have with these fantastic women, was the fact that she was really comfortable with who she was and what she was worth and how to monetize that. Now, if you're having challenges with working out how much are you worth, I have a free guide, as ever, that you can download free of charge called How Much Am I Worth? Just head over to my website, thiswomancan.coach, to download your free copy. And as ever, stay in touch with me on my normal social media handles, Instagram and Facebook. I am Janice Sutherland. On LinkedIn, you can connect with me there. It would be great to meet you. Or email me at info@janicesutherland.com if you want to talk further about how can I help you with your career goals. Until next week, remember, if I can, you can, this woman can. Take care. You've been listening to the This Woman Can podcast, brought to you by This Woman Can, the no bullshit guide for women who lead, available on Amazon and Kindle. For more information about the training and consulting services offered for women who lead, including one-on-one executive coaching and group masterminds, visit thiswomancan.coach.